Hey, it's Adrian with Ocean Independence, and we're back with yet another yacht video. Today, we're in the south of Italy. In fact, we're just off the coast of Naples. Very excited, can't wait to get started and to show you the ins and out of Persuader. Persuader is a 2007 Ocea built super yacht with many features that really make her quite the character among today's yachts on the market. Now, before we get going, I should mention that Persuader is for sale with Ocean Independence, so do keep that in mind as you watch the video. Now, what makes Persuader so great is that really, in essence, she combines the best of three worlds. She is a soon-to-be classic with explorer capabilities, and not only that, she also is very much a home out on the water, very inviting, very homely. But it's not even that really makes her special. It's her character and the feeling that she evokes when you're on board, something that is so very lacking on some of the more recent builds. Now, I hope that over the course of this 10-15 minute video that we'll be able to portray and to illustrate some of the character that Persuader has that really makes her stick out from the crowd. And without further ado, let's step on board. When boarding yachts, maybe the pool stands out to you first as you step foot on the main deck aft, or perhaps it's the sleek design of furniture. In Persuader's case, the first thing that stood out to me were these massive hinges and these huge, sturdy-looking transom doors. And I really think these transom doors symbolize what Persuader is all about. She is the perfect vessel for cruising in style, on and off the beat track. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start the tour here on the main deck aft. We have our CCTV cameras over here to make sure unwanted guests aren't getting up on the ship. Now, of course, we're not unwanted, so we'll continue with this tour. We have a socializing area here, seats 4 people quite comfortably. Perceivably, you could pull up more chairs and make room for 8. Going forward over here, we have our wraparound decks. The door here actually closes, so that shields you from some of the wind coming in over the bow. That is not the case today, so the doors are open. So we have our JL audio system right here, which can be blasting opera music as a guest board, or anything else you might enjoy. I like opera. Anyways, back to the shipping side of things. Over there, you have access to the sun deck, but we'll be showing you that towards the end of the tour. So now let's head inside and see what Persuader is all about. What makes the interior of Persuader such a great space is that it's a great blend between cool design elements and functionality. So let's start off with some of the design elements that I feel stand out. Now, I think the word that best describes Persuader's interior is classical, yet classical without feeling stuffy. Now, I think that was achieved primarily through the use of mostly light wood. Throughout the yacht, it's mostly mahogany, but the colors alternate between light wood and then these darker strips of mahogany, whereas on, more classical yachts, true classical builds, you're mostly gonna get dark mahogany throughout. That's not the case on Persuader. I think that's a job well done. In fact, being on here, this feels very much like your informal seaside home where you go with your family to spend some time to unwind. But this isn't a seaside home by the beach. This is, of course, a home on the water. So definitely a great spot to spend time with friends and family. Now, in terms of the areas that we have in here, right next to me is this beautiful seating area. Again, it just invites you to sit down and to relax, to have a chat with friends. And the other great thing about this space is that you're not afraid of sitting down if you're maybe wet, your pants haven't dried off completely after you've gone for a swim. It's very much an inviting space. That really was the goal that they had in mind when they designed these spaces and when they designed the yacht. The idea was to spend extended amounts of time on board cruising, right? So you don't want to be walking on eggshells the whole time. Now, in terms of the design of the cushions, we have our nautical theme, which we've seen on other builds as well. I think that goes very well with the light design overall. And if you look over to the other side, below the windows, we have a huge amount of storage. Now that comes in handy, right? When you're out in secluded anchorages for weeks and weeks, right? You want to be able to carry all your belongings with you. And so that's what this is used for. Above the storage, we have 3 windows, letting in plenty of natural light. However, you'll notice that the windows are somewhat smaller than you get on more contemporary builds. Now, the reason for this is not technical feasibility, but rather the wish of the designers to create a secure, very safe space Because keep in mind, this yacht was not made for pleasure cruising in the Mediterranean, although it can be used for that as well. It was made to cross oceans. That is what the 4,000 nautical mile range is for. The window here in the center, it actually opens up so you can let some of the breeze inside. Now, if you're out in choppy conditions, crossing an ocean, then of course you want everything shut tight. And this is what these handles are for as well. Everything seals shut and you're gonna be nice and dry in here. Heading over further forward, we walk past the separator. Behind the separator, we have our ventilation ducts, and right below the separator, who would have guessed, we have even more storage. We're here in the formal dining area. I mean, that is generally what this kind of space is referred to on yachts, although in this case, I would more fittingly refer to it as the informal, formal dining area. Again, the idea is to spend plenty of time on board here, extended periods of time with friends and family, so you don't want something too formal. You want to feel relaxed. Maybe the artwork behind the dining table inspired you to go fishing that day and you want to discuss your fishing adventures over lunch, dinner. This is the perfect spot to do it. To starboard and to port, we have another set of windows. We have these handles that you can twist to really seal shut the windows. If you open them on the other hand, the central window can be opened, letting in some more of that sea breeze. So coming around here, we have the galley to port. Now this is strategically located. On some yachts, especially bigger yachts, right, the walking distances that the crew need to cover to serve the guests are quite extensive. Here in this case, the crew is right here. You're having dinner out there, so the meals can be served very quickly, very easily, and very efficiently. Persuader has a top-of-the-line galley. Food is an important aspect when you're spending weeks and weeks on board with your friends and family, so not really surprising that they have top quality equipment, such as this Gaggenau equipment over here. We have a Gaggenau oven, and Gaggenau just has a nice ring to it. Not that I know much about cooking appliances, but I've been told it is the creme de la creme of cooking appliances. We have many of your usual suspects. You have your Miele dishwasher, we have cooking tops, we have plenty of storage, we have a large fridge. So really anything a chef might need when he's preparing a meal for a family of four with maybe 4 other friends on board, it's going to be on here. Of course, you want access to your crew cabins, and that's where this door leads. However, we're not going to go there just yet. We're going to stay here on the main deck and head into the bridge. So that's where we're going to go now. This is Persuader's Wheelhouse. It's in fact just a couple of stairs up from the main salon. Being a bit higher up, we have great visibility. Also thanks to the windows that we have almost 270-degree views. Now, looking around the wheelhouse, there's a couple of things I'd like to point out. Let me start off by something unrelated to the wheelhouse and to the navigation of the yacht, which is actually the dayhead right through in here. This makes sense given that you'd be navigating a lot. There would always be someone up here on the bridge, so having a dayhead up here is rather convenient. In addition, this is a great spot to observe the captain navigating the yacht from. Speaking about the navigation itself, let me start off by mentioning that Persuader has a 4,000 nautical mile range. This is hugely impressive for a yacht that's just 32.8 meters long, so this is really a testament to Persuader's capabilities. Now, when you're on a yacht that is meant to cross oceans, you need to have a certain type and kind of equipment on board. So Persuader is equipped with 2 Caterpillar C18 engines with 450 horsepower each. This gives her a cruising speed of 10 knots and a top speed of 15 knots. This is quite quick, and thanks to her lightweight aluminium hull construction. She needs to be stabilized. Fret not. She is very stable lying at anchor thanks to her zero-speed stabilizers. These are 21,000 Seakeeper stabilizers. There's 2 of them. Quite frankly, I've never seen zero-speed stabilizers, Seakeepers, that are quite this big on a yacht of this size. In addition, we have quantum fins, so really, be it underway or at anchor, and the owner does like to spend a significant amount of time at anchor, this yacht will be steady as a rock. I'm not sure if that's the right saying. Anyways, in terms of the equipment that we have up here for navigating, your eyes are immediately drawn to the 2 screens to starboard. And one of the screens at the moment, we have a chart plotter. Then over here we have our engine controls. I'll make sure not to touch anything. One thing I'd like to point out, as I did go on about fishing adventures and discussing those over lunch, I was very pleased to see that the owner has had a fish finder put in. So over here on this screen, the fish finder has been pulled up. So when you're out looking for the largest tuna, that is a hugely important asset. Now, before we wrap up this area, I'd like to mention just a few other aspects of the engine room that I glossed over earlier. I did mention that she was equipped to cross oceans. So accordingly, there's certain pieces of equipment that you need, such as a shore power converter. I should also mention that she has two generators which were put in 2018, which just goes to show, that the owner has been keeping up with maintenance. Should give you some peace of mind when you're preparing for your next crossing. And that wraps it up for the bridge deck and the engine room. So I suggest we move outside next onto the foredeck. But before doing so, let me open this door. And I've developed a bit of a passion with regards to doors recently for whatever reason. And the one thing that really stood out to me when looking at this door in particular was how narrow it was. It does feel very solid. And I do believe this is an important design element, because when you have a wave, not that you should go out in these conditions, but if you find yourself in conditions where you have waves crashing over the bulwark, well then you want a small, narrow door, that's not going to give way and that's going to keep the bridge deck nice and dry. Anyways, with that, follow me. So being back outside, my sunglasses are also back. We're now forward of the bridge. This is the Portuguese bridge that I pointed out earlier. And if you're just standing here, you notice how high this is. I mean, this is chest high. So again, you do really feel safe sitting here, standing here, being inside. This whole boat just gives you a sense of security. With that, let's move further forward past this very solid opening. And we're now on the foredeck. And I think the best way of describing this is really as a floating toy box. I mean, think about it. This is a 32.8 meter yacht, and I'm standing here, a jet ski next to me, a massive Zodiac tender with a huge outboard engine. I'm sure this thing really flies. We have a kayak back here. We have a stand-up paddle over there. And to load everything off the boat and into the water, we have this very solid looking crane. Now, speaking about toys, the one thing I'd like to point out is that this yacht is in fact for charter, and when the yacht is for charter, it's really hugely important to have the toys, and this yacht has all the toys in the world that you could possibly wish for as a guest. For a future owner, this is something to certainly keep in mind. She's MCA compliant and can be run as a charter vessel, or of course privately, whatever it is that you see yourself doing. It's time to go back inside, and that's what we'll be doing. We'll be showing you the guest accommodation next. But as we're walking, getting off the foredeck, down below me, I noticed these hatches, and right beneath the hatches is actually where the guest accommodation lies. Now, these hatches have two functions. So the primary function, of course, is to let light in. You'll notice there's plenty of light in the guest cabins, so they function as a sort of skylight. And the second function is, of course, access to the guest accommodation. So please follow me. I'll just open them now. I'm just kidding. Guest accommodation access is, of course, through the back. So yeah, follow me. We'll head all the way back inside, and then down a flight of stairs, not down a hatch. Persuader's guest areas are accessed through the wheelhouse and then down a flight of stairs. Now we find ourselves on the lower deck, and we have 4 cabins in total down here. And as you'll see, the layouts are quite flexible. We now find ourselves in the owner's accommodation. Now, the owner's accommodation is very classical. You'll note that we have more dark mahogany in here. However, as we've seen in the main salon, we have these lighter touches that really break up the space. Now, in terms of the flexibility that I was referring to just a couple seconds ago, the sofa to my left actually folds out. So if an owner happens to have, 2 small children or 1 small child, and he wants those children to sleep in the same cabin with him, now this is the perfect spot to do it. Then next to the couch, there's a small workstation, so in case you need to get some work done, this is it. In case you don't need to get any work done, you want to watch some TV, well, naturally there's also a TV with full entertainment options on board, which is right here. And then through here, this is where your marble-clad ensuite is. I think quite nicely appointed. I did mention that I had door passion, so I need to point out this door in particular. This is in fact a watertight door, so in case of need, this can be sealed off completely. In addition, that is what ensures, among others, MCA compliance and makes her a very suitable charter vessel. Now, speaking about compliance, the hatches that I pointed out earlier, they actually double up as escape hatches, which is again another aspect that's important if you want to make sure that she's fully MCA compliant. Enough with regulations and compliance, and getting back to the enjoyment, to the pleasure side of things. We have 2 twin cabins to port and to starboard, both with an additional Pullman berth. We're now all the way forward in the VIP cabin. Now, one thing that stood out to me was the fact that the VIP cabin actually has 2 single berths as opposed to one double berth. This is somewhat of an unusual layout, but it does give you a certain amount of extra flexibility. This is in particular, it's very valuable if you're planning on chartering out the vessel. Over here is the ensuite, and then as you've seen in the master cabin, and I assure you the twin cabins also have TVs, this cabin, of course, does come with onboard entertainment. The fun side of yachting to its fullest. They need a great crew on board. There's room for 5 crew members in total on Persuader. They have their own crew quarters, and let me assure you the crew are most certainly happy. We just had lunch with them. They are truly wonderful people. Having covered both crew and guest accommodation, this wraps it up for the lower deck. So now we're going to be heading back outside and up another couple of decks. Some might say we've saved the best for last, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's head up onto the sun deck. Here on the sun deck is where you get your best views. Today we're in southern Italy. We're only a few nautical miles away from Naples. We have this stunning backdrop, and if you look over there you'll see cliffs, and I've been wondering all day what these holes seem caves, but we've been wondering all day whether they're man-made or not. But anyways, I've gotten sidetracked. Back to the yacht. We're on the sun deck, as I was saying, and we'll start all the way forward. We have access to a sunbathing area. These plastic covers, of course, can be removed, letting in a bit more of the sea breeze. Forward we have the sunbathing area, as I pointed out. Over here we have a separate helm station. The controls can be transferred up to the helm station over here, so you can either drive the vessel from up here or from down below. But this area is really less about navigating, it's more about enjoying your time on the water, and what better place to do so than on this massive, massive sun deck. But if I were to guess, I'd say we have a sun deck of at least 15 meters. Keep in mind, we're on a 32.8 meter yacht, so surely a truly impressive space. The amenities that we have up here, we have this faucet. It was in fact put in just recently, and this is where the crew refill their water bottles, and the idea behind it is the following. On the hot summer days, such as today, guests and crew tend to drink a lot of water, and it's a shame to consume all of that plastic in plastic water bottles. So if all the guests and the crew refill their bottles, maybe aluminum bottles, right, then you cut down on your plastic consumption, and you also cut on the overall waste, which is hugely important if you're spending longer periods of time out at anchor. Getting back to the socializing areas, we have this beautiful wood table here which seats 8 guests. You can enjoy your views out onto the cliffs. Opposite the table, we have some more storage. Again, you will have noticed there's storage in almost every single area of this yacht. Then moving further aft, we get to 2 sunbeds to starboard and to port. These are great for taking in the views. Less great at the moment for sunbathing, but fret not. This awning can actually be drawn back, and then you can be lying in the sun out here. Back here, all the way aft, we have another socializing area. This is one of 3 socializing areas. We have a small little coffee table in the center, and then of course, plenty of seating around the coffee table. Right down below and through that hatch, we have access to the main deck. Aft, which we've shown you earlier, I'd like to point out the mesh that was used here. I mean, this reminds me of the good old days when sailing ships still roamed the seas, and I think it's very fitting, for the kind of vessel that Persuader is. And that wraps it up for the sun deck, in fact wraps up today's tour. But before I leave you, I'd like to offer some of my own personal thoughts on this yacht. Now, Persuader really is in a category of her own, especially in this size segment. I mean, we're looking at a yacht that can venture off the beaten track, can weather storms, and at the very same time, you can venture back into more civilized, more common yachting grounds, such as the Côte d'Azur, and you're not going to be sticking out like a sore thumb. That being said, are some compromises being made? They certainly are. So if you're looking for an ultra-modern yacht with all the newest features, with glass everywhere and floor-to-ceiling windows and fold-out balconies and whatnot, then Persuader is probably not going to be the right yacht. However, if you're more of an all-rounder and you really want to enjoy time out on the water, play with the water toys, go off the beaten track, feel at home on a yacht, spend times with family and friends, fooling around, not taking life too seriously, really enjoying the essence of yachting, well then by all means, I think Persuader is certainly the right yacht for you. Anyways, that's my opinion. Opinions do differ, so by all means, if you're interested in Persuader, if you want to form your own opinion, do get in touch with us. We put our contact details in the description down below, and we're most certainly happy to arrange a viewing on board. It's time to wrap things up, so please like this video, subscribe, share the video, and most importantly, stay tuned for more great content to come. Thank you.